You were never born and will never die. Who am I beyond the names and roles I assign to myself? Who is the one behind all these labels, claiming them as me throughout my life? We are surrounded by labels and stories from the moment we are born. You are given a name, a role, an identity. These seem to shape who you are, but are they truly your essence? Or are they merely layers you've draped over yourself? Imagine standing before a mirror. What you see is your face, your body, and all the physical markers that define you in this world. But if you look deeper, can you see your true essence? Are you truly this body, or is there something hidden beneath? Now picture a vast ocean. On its surface, waves rise and fall. Each wave seems separate, with its own shape and rhythm. But if you look deeper, you realize that each wave is not separate from the ocean. It is an inseparable part, yet not the whole. The wave is a fleeting expression, but its essence is water, the boundless ocean. You are like that wave. Everything you think you are, your body, memories, emotions, identity, is just a temporary expression on the surface. But you are not these waves. You are the ocean. If you are not your body, not your past memories, not the identity you claim, then what are you? The answer doesn't lie in something you can pinpoint or define. It lies in the infinite existence that you have always been but never fully realized. For a moment, forget everything you've believed about yourself, your name, your roles, the successes or failures you think define you. They are all stories. In this exploration, we will peel back the layers of illusion that have hidden your true self. We will delve into the ego, awareness, and the truth that you were never born and will never die. But first, let's ask the biggest question. If I am not my body, memories, or identity, then what am I? Dear friend, when you think of yourself, the first thing that comes to mind might be your personal stories. What is your name? What have you done? What have you experienced? These form what you call yourself. But have you ever asked, who is telling this story? That is the ego. The ego is not a physical entity. It has no shape or size. Instead, it is the center of every story you tell about yourself, the concept you use to define I. But is the ego truly you? Or is it just an illusion? The ego is formed from thoughts, emotions, and memories. It's like an invisible bag you carry, filled with beliefs about yourself. From childhood, you begin building this bag. A compliment from your parents, a criticism from a teacher, a joyful or painful experience. All of these are collected and stored in the bag labeled me. Over time, you start to identify with this bag. You think, I am successful, or I am a failure, I am funny, or I am shy. But pause and reflect. Are these thoughts and memories truly you? They come, go, and change throughout your life. If they change, how can they define who you are? Consider a real-life example. Suppose you face a major setback at work. Your ego immediately jumps in and whispers, I'm a failure. I'm not good enough. These thoughts aren't just words in your mind. They carry emotions, sadness, shame, even anger. These emotions begin to dictate your actions. You might withdraw, avoiding new opportunities out of fear. But look closer. Those thoughts are not the truth. They are just the ego's way of reacting to protect itself, to maintain the story it has crafted about you. If you believe that story, you become trapped in a cycle of suffering. The ego doesn't just limit you with negative thoughts. It's also the source of desire and comparison. It says, I'll be happy if I get this, or I need to be better than others to feel worthy. But have you ever noticed that even when you achieve what you want, the ego quickly shifts to a new goal? It is never satisfied. It's like a bottomless well, always needing to be filled but never full. Imagine you're watching a movie. You're completely absorbed in the story, feeling joy when the protagonist succeeds, sadness when they fail. But then you realize it's just a movie. The characters aren't real, they're just images on a screen. The ego is like the protagonist in a movie you've created. You invest emotions, time, and energy in defending it. But when you look closely, you see it's just a story, a collection of fleeting thoughts and emotions. The biggest question is, what happens if you let go of the ego? You won't lose your sense of self or become a nobody. Instead, you'll realize that you are not the story you tell yourself. You are the awareness in which that story appears and dissolves. The ego is just a notion, a temporary structure we identify with. But your true essence transcends all of that. It is not bound by thoughts, emotions, or memories. So, without the ego, who are you? This thought may feel unsettling at first, but it is also the gateway to freedom. In truth, when you are no longer bound by the ego, you don't need to defend or prove your worth. You are no longer controlled by fear or ambition. Instead, you experience life fully, as it is, without the veil of illusion. In a quiet moment, you look back on your entire life, from the day you were born, your earliest memories, your successes, your failures, to this very moment. Everything seems shaped by the flow of time, a journey from a beginning to an end. But what if everything you think about yourself, the story of being born and dying, is just an illusion? The idea that you were never born may sound paradoxical, but this isn't a denial of your body or the world around you. Instead, it's a way to look deeper, beyond the surface of ordinary perception, to uncover a timeless truth. Your true essence has no beginning and no end. Let's start by understanding the nature of time. Time, as we experience it, seems like a sequence of events: past, present, future. We place ourselves in this flow, believing there is a starting point when we were born and an end point when we die. But does time truly exist this way? Or is it just a way the human mind organizes experiences to create meaning? Your true essence does not exist within time. It is awareness, the unchanging space in which all experiences arise and fade. It's like the sky above. Whether it's sunny, rainy, or stormy, the sky remains vast and unaffected by what happens within it. Dark clouds pass, but the sky remains unchanged, whole. You are that sky, and your thoughts, emotions, and life events are like clouds passing through. They appear, shift, and dissolve. But your unchanging essence, the vast awareness, remains ever present. You are not born with your roles or stories, nor do you vanish when they end. What you truly are transcends all of that. Reflect on this. If you have no beginning, does the fear of an end still hold meaning? We fear death because we believe it's the final point, the end of me. But when you realize that me is just a story and you are the awareness in which that story unfolds, the fear dissolves. Philosopher Alan Watts once said, "What you truly are never begins and never ends." It is like the ocean, where each wave rises and falls, but the water remains forever. You are the water, not the wave. To clarify, imagine a dream. In a dream, you might experience a full life, from birth to growing up to passing away. But when you wake up, you realize it was all an illusion. No one was truly born or died in that dream. It was just a fleeting expression in your mind. Life is like that. When you look deeply into your true essence, you see that everything you think is me is just an expression within awareness. This awareness doesn't arise with the body, nor does it vanish when the body is gone. Set aside all beliefs about who you are, where you came from, and where you're going. Instead, ask, if I have no beginning, why do I fear an end? This question isn't just a mental exercise, it is the gateway to freedom. When you are no longer bound by the concept of time, you will see that every moment is an expression of your eternal essence. You no longer need to race to achieve something or flee from something else. You simply exist, right now, in this moment. The truth that you were never born is not a denial of life. On the contrary, it is an affirmation that you are not limited by the stories you tell yourself. It frees you from fear and suffering, allowing you to live fully as your true self, an eternal, boundless awareness, unbound by time or space. You are something infinite, unconfined, never born, and never dying. Imagine this. You are standing in a room filled with mirrors. Each mirror reflects a different image. You as a parent, a success, a failure, a humorous person, or a shy one. But among all these images, is there one that truly is you? Or are they merely temporary reflections, dependent on the angle of the mirror? This is how the ego operates. It creates countless images of you and convinces you that one of them is your true essence. But the ego is not you. It is merely a collection of stories you've unknowingly believed. The ego draws its power from our belief in it. From childhood, you were taught to construct a story about yourself, who your parents are, what you want, what you must achieve to be recognized. Over time, this story grows more complex. Every experience, thought, and emotion is added, reinforcing what you call me. But what happens when this story is challenged? You may feel hurt, afraid, or try to defend it. This is how the ego protects itself, by making you believe you cannot exist without it. When you ask, who is feeling this emotion? You return to awareness, stepping beyond the story the ego is telling. Try this the next time a strong emotion arises, like anger or sadness. Pause and ask, where is this emotion happening? Does it belong to anyone? You'll notice that the emotion doesn't truly belong to you. It is just a fleeting phenomenon within your awareness. The ego exists as an illusion, and this illusion dissolves the moment you look directly at it. It's like standing before a foggy mirror. At first, you see only distorted, chaotic reflections and think they are you. But when you wipe the surface clean, you realize they were just reflections, not reality. The ego is like dust on the mirror, clouding your awareness. When you recognize your true essence, this dust vanishes, leaving clarity and brightness. Thus, true freedom lies not in possessing, but in letting go. When you cling to the ego, you are bound by desires, fears, and the urge to protect yourself. But when you let go, you see that life doesn't need a self to function. Like a river flowing naturally without a guiding hand, you are that river. Your life unfolds effortlessly, without the need for an ego at its center. As Rumi once said, "You are not a drop in the ocean, but the entire ocean in a drop." This doesn't mean you must abandon your individuality or responsibilities. It means recognizing that your true essence is infinite, unbound by the ego's stories. When you return to awareness, you are no longer controlled by the ego's narratives. You begin to live in freedom, without the need to defend or prove your worth. Instead of clinging to what you think you are, you live as you truly are. And this freedom is not something you need to seek. It is your essence, always present, always free. When you live free from the ego's influence, your actions are no longer driven by thoughts like, "What will I gain from this?" or "What will others think of me?" Instead of being motivated by desire or fear, your actions arise naturally from the situation. You no longer feel the need to prove your worth or compare yourself to others. Think of how a bird builds its nest. It doesn't draw detailed plans or wonder if its nest is prettier than another bird's. It simply does what needs to be done, naturally and fully. Humans, too, can live this way, fully present in each moment, undistracted by the stories in their minds. There's a common misconception that without the ego, we lose the ability to make decisions or that emotions become meaningless. But the opposite is true. Without the ego, decisions are made more naturally, unclouded by fear or personal bias. Imagine standing at a crossroads, trying to decide which path to take. If the ego dominates, you worry about the consequences. What if I choose wrong? What will others think? But when you are free from the ego, you simply choose the path that feels right based on what you know in that moment. Decisions become part of the flow, without struggle or doubt. Emotions are the same. Without the ego, emotions still arise. You still feel joy, sadness, anger, or love, but you no longer identify with them. They no longer define you. They are simply phenomena that come and go, like ripples on a lake. You experience them fully but are not swept away by them. Living without the ego doesn't mean abandoning life or becoming a nobody. It means living with ease, lightness, and true freedom. It's recognizing that you are not the stories you tell yourself, but the space in which all stories unfold. And when you live this way, you are no longer bound by worries or pressures. You become aligned with the natural flow of life, as the essence you have always been. You're looking at a flower. When the ego dominates, you don't truly see the flower. You see only your opinions about it. This flower is beautiful, but I've seen a prettier one. Or this flower reminds me of a sad memory. But when you let go of the ego, you see the flower in its entirety, without judgment, without comparison. You are no longer trapped in your story, and so you experience the flower fully. This applies to your relationships with people, too. When the ego no longer controls you, you stop seeing others through the lens of expectations or judgments. You no longer need them to play a role to validate your worth. Instead, you are truly present with them, listening and feeling a deep connection. When the ego dissolves, the boundary between me and others also fades. You begin to realize that we are all part of the same whole. You no longer see others as separate individuals, but as different expressions of the same source. A flame is lit from many different candles. Though each candle has its own shape, size, and color, the light from the flame is the same, indistinguishable. Your true essence is like this, not the candle, but the light. When you free yourself from the ego, you realize that you and everyone around you are part of the same light, different in form, but one in essence. This realization doesn't diminish your individuality. On the contrary, it deepens your appreciation for yourself and others. You no longer need to defend or separate yourself. You understand that you are part of a greater connection, one that cannot be broken. Try closing your eyes and feeling your breath. When you don't attach yourself to any story, simply feeling the breath moving in and out, you realize you don't need to do anything to be yourself. You don't need to be perfect or strive. Your existence is already a miracle. After this profound exploration, you might ask, if I am not the me, what am I really? The answer doesn't lie in adding anything but in letting go of all that is not you. The identities, memories, and emotions you've claimed as yours are merely shells. They may come and go, but you do not. You are infinite awareness. Look back on this journey, from recognizing the ego as an illusion to understanding that you were never born and will never die. You've gradually peeled away the layers of illusion to see your true essence. You are not what you think, nor the stories you tell yourself. You are the silent space where all experiences arise and dissolve. You are not the wave, you are the boundless ocean. Most of us believe that enlightenment is something ahead, a state we must achieve. But the truth is, you don't need to seek it. Recognizing your true essence is already here, now. This awareness isn't something you can attain because you've never lost it. The only thing you need to do is realize that you have always been it. This freedom isn't a state you need to find, it's a truth you recognize. You have always been yourself, an unchanging awareness, untouched by the ripples of life. When you realize this, everything changes. Not the external world, but how you see it. You no longer fear life's ups and downs or get swept away by fleeting emotions or thoughts. You become light, natural, and aligned with the flow of life. Let this message conclude our journey. You don't need to do anything to become yourself. Let go of all illusions, all the burdens you've carried. Freedom isn't something you need to achieve, it is what you have always been. If this journey has resonated with you, please give a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content. Share this video with those you think are also seeking the truth, as it might be the door they need. Wishing you and your family abundant health.